What would you do if a single moment of cruelty shattered a memory you held dear? The county fair was supposed to be a place of joy-bright lights, the smell of cotton candy, and the hum of laughter. For me, Emily Carter, it was a chance to honor my late father, James, a war hero whose medal I carried like a piece of his heart. But that night, under the glow of the Ferris wheel, everything changed. It was a warm July evening in 2025, the air thick with the scent of fried dough and anticipation. The Willow Creek County Fair was in full swing, its fields packed with families, vendors, and the occasional overzealous teenager. I was 22, a recent college grad, still figuring out life without Dad, who'd passed 2 years earlier. His Bronze Star, earned for bravery in a war he never talked about, was my anchor. I'd entered it in the fair's heritage exhibit, a display of local treasures, hoping to share his legacy. The exhibit tent was quiet, a contrast to the chaos outside. My dad's medal gleamed under a glass case, nestled between a quilt from 1890 and a faded photo of the town's first mayor. I stood there, tracing the outline of the star through the glass, when a voice cut through the calm like a knife. "This is junk. Who cares about some old medal?" I turned to see her, Karen Mitchell, a woman in her late 40s, all sharp angles and sharper words. She was a local realtor, known for her loud opinions and louder outfits. Tonight, she wore a neon pink blazer that screamed for attention. Her teenage son, Ethan, slouched beside her, scrolling on his phone, oblivious to her tirade. "Excuse me," I said, stepping forward. My voice trembled, but I wasn't backing down. "That's my father's Bronze Star. He earned it saving lives." Karen snorted, her eyes narrowing. "Looks like something you'd find in a thrift store. They let anyone put stuff in here, don't they?" Before I could respond, she leaned over the case, her purse swinging wildly. Time slowed as the purse caught the edge of the display, knocking the glass case to the ground. The crash echoed like a gunshot. My dad's medal hit the dirt, and Karen, not missing a beat, stepped forward, her stiletto heel grinding the star into the earth. I froze, my heart pounding. "Stop!" I screamed, lunging forward. But it was too late. The medal was mangled, its ribbon torn, the star bent beyond recognition. Karen didn't even flinch. She looked down, scoffed, and said, "Oops, maybe you shouldn't leave your trash lying around." The tent filled with gasps. A small crowd had gathered, drawn by the commotion. Ethan finally looked up from his phone, his face paling. "Mom, what did you do?" he whispered, but Karen waved him off. "It's just a thing," she said, rolling her eyes. "Get over it." I knelt in the dirt, my hands shaking as I picked up the pieces. This wasn't just a thing. It was Dad's courage, his sacrifice, the only piece of him I could still hold. Tears stung my eyes, but anger burned hotter. "You don't get to decide what this means," I said, my voice low and steady now. "You don't get to destroy someone's memory and walk away." Karen smirked. "Good luck proving it was me. Accidents happen." That's when the twist came, unexpected and sharp. A voice piped up from the crowd, a shaky, hesitant one. "I saw it. I recorded it." It was Mrs. Delaney, the town's librarian, a quiet woman in her 70s who always carried a small camcorder to document the fair. She held up the device, her hands trembling but her resolve firm. "I got the whole thing. She did it on purpose." The crowd murmured, and Karen's smirk faltered. "That's ridiculous," she snapped. "You're all ganging up on me." But the evidence was undeniable. Mrs. Delaney's footage showed Karen's careless swing, the deliberate step, the smug dismissal. It was no accident. The fair's organizers were called in. Sheriff Danvers, a grizzled man who'd known my dad, watched the video in silence. His jaw tightened as he handed the phone back to Mrs. Delaney. "Karen," he said, his voice like gravel, "you're done here. You're banned from the fair permanently, and you'll be hearing from the county about damages." Karen's face turned crimson. "This is outrageous. I'm a respected member of this community." She pointed at me. "She's just a kid making a scene." But the crowd wasn't having it. People who'd known my dad, or heard his story stepped forward. "That was James Carter's medal," one man said. "He saved my brother in '03. Another added, "You don't get to disrespect a hero like that." Even Ethan, to my surprise, spoke up. "Mom, you went too far," he muttered, his voice barely audible. Karen's bravado crumbled. She stormed out, but not before the organizers handed her a fine. $3,000 to cover the cost of the display and the medal's restoration if it could even be restored. I clutched the broken pieces, my chest tight with grief and fury. Justice felt hollow when the damage was already done. The next day, the fair buzzed with the story. Karen's name was on everyone's lips, her reputation in tatters. But I couldn't shake the weight of what had happened. I sat in my room, the medal's fragments spread out on my desk, trying to piece together what was left. That's when Ethan showed up at my door, unannounced. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice cracking. He was just a kid, maybe 16, caught in his mother's shadow. She's not always like this. I mean, she is," but he trailed off, handing me a small box. Inside was a photo of my dad, one I'd never seen, from a community event years ago. Ethan had found it in his mom's files. "I thought you'd want this," he said. "I know it's not the medal, but..." I didn't know what to say. Ethan's gesture was a flicker of light in the darkness. A reminder that even in someone like Karen's orbit, there was humanity. I thanked him, and he left. His shoulders slumped like he carried his mother's shame. Days turned into weeks, and the fair faded into memory. The medal was sent to a specialist, but they couldn't restore it fully. The star was too warped, the ribbon too frayed. I kept it anyway, in a small box beside my bed, next to Ethan's photo. I tried to move on, but the bitterness lingered. Karen never apologized. She doubled down, posting online about unfair persecution and small-town drama. Her words only deepened the town's disdain. Then came the final twist, the one that broke me. A letter arrived from the county, informing me that Karen had sued, claiming the ban was defamation. She argued the medal was insignificant and the fine excessive. The case was thrown out, Mrs. Delaney's video was ironclad, but the process dragged on, forcing me to relive the moment over and over. It was like Karen was trampling the medal again, each court date a fresh wound. In the end, the court upheld the fine and ban. Karen moved away, her real estate business crumbling under the weight of her actions. But victory didn't feel sweet. The medal was gone, its physical form a ghost of what it had been. I visited Dad's grave, laying the photo Ethan gave me against the headstone. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I tried to protect it. The fair would go on next year, but I wouldn't be there. The lights, the laughter, the crowdsteed lost their magic. Karen's cruelty had taken more than a medal. It had stolen a piece of my connection to Dad. I'd keep fighting to honor his memory, but it would never be the same. Some wounds don't heal, they just scar. Nd.